How's it going, everyone? So, as you probably already know, there's no E3 this year. Instead, there was a bunch of different game showcases, like a lot of them. And I tried my best to cover every single one of them, and I want to go through all of the games shown that I'm either excited for or remotely interested in. There's not a lot, but I do want to give my thoughts on all the showcases that I've seen, starting with the Sony State of Play that happened way back in June 2nd, I think. So, yeah, this was like 12 days of nonstop video game showcases. I do miss the old E3 format where it's just like three of them, like, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. There's all different kinds, and I want to go through them all. I'm not gonna give my thoughts on every single game shown because there were countless indie games, just the ones that I'm interested in. So starting with Sony State of Play, right off the bat, they revealed kind of like a teaser trailer for a Resident Evil 4 remake. It didn't feel like a reveal. I mean, it was a reveal trailer, but it didn't really have a lot of substance to it. But they gave a release date, March 24th. It looks pretty good. It looks like it's going to be more horror oriented, which is one of the complaints I had with the original 4, was that it was more veering towards action, even though it did have a few scary moments here and there. 4 remake looks pretty promising. There is that cat video game called Stray that comes out next month. I'm a little interested only because I'm a big cat person. The gameplay doesn't look too exciting, but for $30, it might be pretty good. Now, here's one that I'm pretty sure has everyone excited for. Every survival horror fan, anyway, probably even more than RE4 Remake, and that is the Callisto Protocol. It looks kind of like a Dead Space game. And we haven't had one of those in a long time, and I've been itching for a new game that's like Dead Space. So the Callisto Protocol is actually pretty high on my list. Then we have Street Fighter 6, which also comes out next year. Looks pretty good. I'm not a huge fighter fan. I do like the occasional Street Fighter. I haven't really played one since like Alpha 3 though, so I'd be really rusty at it. But I mean, it looks good. Looks like there's gonna be like an open world part to it, which I'm not really thrilled about. But you know, that's that's cool. And Final Fantasy 16, they had a little trailer for that. That looks good as well. I'm bummed that they're not working on 7 remake, the 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 second chapter of 7 remake. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Sony's State of Play. Um, the one big thing that is missing here, of course, is God of War Ragnarok, and it didn't show up on any other showcases either. Uh, the developers still tell us that it's coming out this year. I doubt it. I'm very skeptical. They say it's coming out in November, yet we still have no gameplay on it. We still have no news on it. I do not think God of War Ragnarok is coming out this year. I really doubt it. I think it's getting pushed back to 2023. I How many times have we taken a studio's word for it that a game's going to come out in a given time, and then they delay it anyway? It happens all the time now. Happens way too often now. So I'm taking that with a grain of salt. um, it's going to be 2023, I think, maybe early 2023. Anyway, moving on to the Summer Game Fest. You know what's funny? It's technically not even summer yet. Summer starts on June 21st. So, whatever. That's my nerd glasses talking. Like, well, summer hasn't really started yet. Yeah, still spring. Yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna criticize. Aliens Dark Descent I love Aliens. It's like one of my favorite sci-fi. It's probably my favorite sci-fi action movie of all time. Aliens: Dark Descent. Hopefully, it's not as bad as Colonial Marines, and it's actually pretty good. They showed some more brutal gameplay, really disgusting, gory, horrifying gameplay of Callisto Protocol. It made me even more excited to play it. There was, of course, Modern Warfare 2, reboot Modern Warfare 2, not to be confused with Modern Warfare back in 2009. I don't know why they're calling it Modern Warfare again. It's so fucking confusing. But they showed some kind of like cargo ship campaign gameplay. I'm never really excited for Call of Duty anymore, but they're games that I eventually get anyway when they're like $20. So I will play Modern Warfare 2 eventually when I get a new gen console. And it'll be on sale for like 20 or $30. You know, it's just more of the same Call of Duty. You know, graphically it looks nice, but gameplay wise, it's been the same for fucking, I don't know how many. It's been the same since like 2007, literally. There was one indie game that I'm kind of interested in only because of the subject matter. It's called High Water. It is a post apocalyptic game, but not in like the usual kind. Most apocalyptic games are either like post nuclear or viral or a catastrophic, you know, meteor strike or something. This is caused by climate change right here, this game. High water. I've never really seen that happen in a game where the game world is caused by climate change, and that should be pretty interesting because I feel like that is one of the most realistic things that could happen to our world, climate change, in terms of like post-apocalyptic events. So High Water might be a nice little indie game to check out. I'm also pretty interested in Marvel's Midnight Suns. It's a Marvel game, but the gameplay is more like turn-based strategy, kind of like XCOM. I'm always all for that. I love turn-based RPGs and strategy games. Cuphead. I haven't played the first Cuphead game, and I kind of don't want to just because I hear how hard it is, and I have enough hard games in my backlog that I'm kind of like reluctant to try it. But you know, it looks cool. I love the art direction of Cuphead. It's like your 1930s cartoon where like everything is just moving and happy and um I don't know if this is a full-fledged sequel or a DLC. It's called The Delicious Last Meal. It looks fun. It looks hard as hell, but it looks fun. This next one is a game that I really want to play right off the bat. I won't be able to because I don't have Game Pass anymore. But next time I have a month of Game Pass, I'm playing this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It looks amazing. It looks like the old TMNT cartoons from like the 80s. The style looks like spot on. It looks so retro, classic beat 'em up. I'm on board. That's like one of my most anticipated games ever right now. And it comes out in like 2 days. Less than 2 days. Like it comes out like almost right now. But I would have to buy like $15. I mean, it probably is worth the $15 anyway, but next time I'm on Game Pass, that'll be the absolute first game I play. Shredder's Revenge. I could buy it for like $25, but be getting a better deal just buying Game Pass. So I'll wait. But I do want to play it really badly. There's apparently like 6-player co-op, like at the same time. So hopefully that doesn't work against the game's design. Hopefully it doesn't make it too chaotic. They pointed out some demo of Saints Row, the new Saints Row game. I am planning on getting Saints Row. I'm not sure if I'm getting it at release though. So you could see a review of it down the line, or you could not. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna say yes, but fingers crossed, because you never know. I might change my mind. But there's apparently some kind of demo coming out for Saints Row, the new one, so I might download that and see if I like it. Lastly, for the Summer Game Fest, there was something on Layers of Fear, survival first-person horror walking simulator where you get scared of paintings. I played the first one. It didn't scare me. I have the second one, but haven't played it yet. I'm not sure if this is a sequel or like a collection of the two. Whatever it is, I'm interested to learn more of Layers of Fear. Hopefully they make it scarier and scarier, because that first one just wasn't really very scary to me. Devolver Digital was another showcase, and the only thing that really caught my eye was a game called Skate Story. It's a skateboarding game, but it takes place in hell. You gotta skate your way through hell. Okay. I like the art style. It's very like neon and red. That could be really cool. And that's pretty much it. A lot of indie stuff that I found very generic. IGN Expo, the only thing that got me excited was a DLC campaign for Aliens Fireteam Elite. I didn't get Fireteam Elite only because I know it's like multiplayer driven. It's kind of the same reason why I chose not to get Evil Dead the game, because even though I love Evil Dead, having it be multiplayer only with like no real story, come on, man. I want a story. I want a story with Ash. But anyway, there's a DLC campaign coming out for Aliens Fireteam Elite, and I feel like that would probably help me or convince me to buy it. So that should be fun. Hopefully it's not complete crap. The Tribeca was boring as hell. The Tribeca festival was so boring. The only thing I remember seeing was a Plague Tale. They showed a trailer for a Plague Tale, and it looks great. I mean, it looks a little more the same, but it looks great. I loved the first Plague Tale game. I did a full Let's Play on it. I included it in my top 5 best games of 2019, and I look forward to playing A Plague Tale Requiem. The story looks to be even more compelling and emotional than the last one. It looks amazing. I just need a new console to play it on. I'm going to be getting less and less games, guys, until I get a new console, a new gen console. Could be a PS5, a Series X, a Steam Deck, I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't really give a shit. But that's it. The Tribeca was boring as hell. The Guerrilla Collective was no better. The only thing that remotely interested me in the Guerrilla Collective, both 3.0 and the 3.5 they had later on, I couldn't watch the 3.5 when they showed it live because I was in group therapy. I went back, when I went back home, I skimmed across the entire thing and didn't find anything. But the 3.0, they had Daymare 1994 Sandcastle reveal. It's a sequel to Daymare, or maybe a prequel to Daymare 1998. I tried playing a little bit of Daymare 1998, and I played like the first chapter of it, and I couldn't get into it. It felt like a really poor man's Resident Evil. But you never know. I mean, sequels often do improve from, their first game, so. And the chance that Daymare 1994 will be really good, that's something to check out. Wholesome Game Fest? Nope. There was nothing. There were a bunch of indie games. They showed a shit ton of indie games. Like so many indie games that it drove all of us mad. But none of them were like distinguishable. They were all like really generic looking, generic playing. They all had that same like really minimalistic, low effort, textureless, cartoony graphic style where like every object had their own like one color. Like it just I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of it. I have a list on a piece of paper so I don't forget, in case you guys hear me shuffling paper. But yeah, they showed a ton of like indie games, but none of them looked like gripping or exciting to play. It's not like Hades or Spiritfarer where it's like something a little innovative or whatever, There was one game they showed called like How to Say Goodbye or something, another game about grief, kind of like Spiritfarer. But why would I want to play it when I've already played something exactly like it called Spiritfarer? they're just retrending the same shit, you know? And normally I do side with indie developers, but not really this time. I feel like this is like a spotlight for like people, low budget game developers who like try to like push games out to make more money, and make even more expensive games, because the vast majority of games they showed in this month was just very underwhelming and not interesting to look at and not interesting to play. Onto the other page, the other side of my piece of paper, reminding myself of things that, oh wow, yeah, I do remember that. That was pretty interesting. We're moving on to the Future Game Fest. The Entropy Center. It kind of reminds me of Portal, which I like, and I've wanted like a third Portal for a long time. But of course, Valve, you know how Valve are when they don't want to make a third entry in every fucking series that they've ever developed. Yeah. Hopefully the Entropy Center will be like my Portal 3 itch. It's not really Portal. It's like a puzzle rewind game where you can like rewind the environment to like open up different platforming routes. It looks pretty good, actually. The Last Faith is a Metroidvania, and I love Metroidvanias, so that alone kind of like gets me interested. But it also has an art style like Blasphemous or Bloodborne, and I'm very excited for the Last Faith. I want to see more of it, and I do want to play it eventually. There is another Souls-like coming out called Thymesia, and the combat looks pretty good. The combat looks like it's different from like your regular Souls combat. It looks faster and more engaging. That could be pretty good. But personally, I'm a little tired of Souls likes. I mean, I got my Elden Ring, I still got my Bloodborne, and that's pretty much all I need when it comes to Souls like games. Elden Ring and Bloodborne. But you never know. Thymesia could be great. So I'll definitely keep that on my radar because the combat does look different. They showed a little teaser of that body horror game called Ill, which I'm pretty interested in, but I still don't know a lot of it. Moving on to the Xbox Bethesda showcase. This is a big one. Maybe not the best one, but a big one. They showed more gameplay of A Plague Tale. Like I said, kind of stealth puzzle, more of the same, but it still looks amazing. Like it's got one of the best graphics I've ever seen. It looks so good. A Plague Tale, I feel like A Plague Tale is probably gonna be one of those games where like the more and more I look at it, I'm gonna be like, dude, I need a PS5. It looks amazing. They have announced a new Forza Motorsport, not Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsport. There hasn't been one in like 3 years, I think, or 4 years maybe. There's a new one coming out next year. It's not called 8, but I'm gonna call it 8, just because it makes sense to call it 8 instead of Forza Motorsport, not to be confused with the one that came out in 2005, the first one. I'm going to call it Forza Motorsport 8, god damn it. Fuck them. It's Forza 8. Jesus Christ. And of course, Overwatch 2, which is free to play, coming out October. So I'll likely make a review off of that. I have Overwatch 1 on PS4. I haven't played it yet. I've had it for like maybe almost a year now, and I haven't touched it. So I'll probably play a little bit of that and get. I played a beta way long ago, before it even came out. But I'll play Overwatch 1, the full game first before I jump into 2, so I can feel more familiar with the gameplay and the characters and whatnot. Well, there's a new Fallout 76 free expansion coming out called The Pit. Kind of like Into the Pit from Fallout 3. You go back there. Not my favorite location in Fallout 3 DLC. I'd much prefer going back to Point Lookout. I do not have good memories of Into the Pit. I remember most of my experience was like trying to collect like 100 iron ingots. Woo! I'll be there. I will be there to play the pit. And I will be there to scold the fuck out of it just because bashing Fallout 76 is like another job to me. I love to hate it. So, yeah, Fallout 76 the pit. Good God, I'm gonna play that shit. And by shit, I mean actual dog shit. Actual fucking coiled poop. Garbage. There's yet another survival horror game coming out, but it's inspired by like the art style of H.G. Geiger and Alien. It's called Scorn, and I want to like it. I want to get excited for it, and I probably will near its release date, but as of right now, the gameplay just looks really stale and unexciting and not really that scary. It's like it's going more towards the blood and gore factor than it is actual tension. Hopefully, I'm wrong. It is something I'm going to keep an eye out in case it happens to turn into an alien inspired masterpiece. Minecraft Legends. I'm a big Minecraft guy, even though I wasn't really into dungeons. I loved I loved Minecraft this past decade. I kind of enjoyed the story mode, the Telltale story modes. I liked the first one. I didn't care for the second season. So I'll be there for Minecraft Legends. I'll play that. It looks like it's an action a real time action strategy game, or could also be an MMO. I'm not entirely sure. They're kind of vague. I want to know more about it. And of course, they had a really good showing of Diablo 4. Diablo 4 was the absolute highlight of the Bethesda showcase, in my opinion. It looks amazing. Hopefully, it doesn't have microtransactions like Diablo Immortal is filled with. I might actually make a rant video about that sometime later on this year. But yeah, Diablo 4 looks fucking incredible. It looks amazing, and I cannot wait to play it. That might actually be a day one buy for me. Persona 3, 4, and 5 are all coming on Game Pass, and that is really good news for Xbox players who have never played a Shin Megami Tensei game, but they want to. Like, there you go. Have, three of the best Persona games right there. I've personally never played 3 and 4, but I hear they're great. I'm a big fan of Persona 5, even though I haven't finished it, because it's long as hell. I actually have a full Persona 5 collection on PS4. I got Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal, and Persona 5 Strikers all on PS4. So, just to complete my collection, if 3 and 4 do come out on PS4, I'm getting it. But if they're not, I might actually play them on Game Pass. And last but not least, the so-called big anticipation of the year is Starfield, Bethesda's new IP in the last 25 years. It could be promising. Gameplay-wise, it looks decent. It looks like a more action-oriented version of No Man's Sky, which I fucking hated when it first came out because there was nothing to do. Nothing. But I hear No Man's Sky is better now. I'm not really sold on it. Not because it doesn't look good. It does look like it's going to be a pretty fun third-person shooter with space combat and all that stuff. The problem I have is when Todd Howard told us how huge the game it was going to be. He told us there was going to be 1,000 planets. 1,000 planets. Why would I want to explore 1,000 planets? I have a feeling they're going to be all empty. I have a feeling they're all going to be barren, pointless exploration of 1,000 planets for 1,000 fucking hours or more. No, I would rather play. I'd rather have it if they had like 10 planets, but they were all very deep in exploration. They all had meaning. They all had, like even Mass Effect Andromeda did exploration right. They didn't have a ton of planets. They had like, a handful of huge planets, but they were all really big, and there was There's a lot of crime going on in this town because we just lost like 4 cops, and I hear a car alarm go off. So yeah, it's not my car though. Let's just wait for the car alarm to go off. They should make a Grand Theft Auto game based on this town. Let's make Grand Theft Auto Barnstead Stories or some shit. The Thieves' Den Chronicles. Anyway, yeah, Starfield. Going back, I'd rather play a 20-hour long good game than a 1,000-hour long bore fest of nothingness. If I played that, I'm only gonna play it for like a couple hours. I'll be like, you know what, fuck this game. It is coming out for Game Pass, but I do need a Series X to play it, or a damn good PC. So yeah, I don't think I'll be playing it anytime soon, regardless of whether it turns out to be good or shit. The PC gaming show sucked. There were only 2 things that I'm kind of interested in. The first one is obviously the System Shock remake. I never played System Shock growing up. I hear the second one is one of the best games of all time. It's actually the biggest inspirer for Bioshock. Bioshock is heavily inspired by it, and Bioshock is my favorite video game of all time. So, System Shock is definitely something I feel like I owe myself to check out. And then the second one was Agent 64 Spies Never Die. It's kind of like an old school GoldenEye clone, but you get to make your own GoldenEye maps. And I love being able to create my own levels and stuff. So that's something that I'm definitely interested in. Never got into GoldenEye because I hated the N64 controller. It's not because I hated the game. The game was great. I hated the Nintendo 64 controller. Fucking hated it. If they ever ported the original GoldenEye game on a new home console, I'm getting it. But I could not. I got really far into it, but I could not finish it. I think I stopped on like the jungle mission on the N64, but it was just hate the N64 controller. And that's it. The rest of the PC gaming show was a waste of fucking time. It was so boring. It was miserable. It was the only showcase that actually made me yawn. Literally yawn. Like, is this over already? Oh my god. They ended it with some gameplay of some fucking game I don't even care about. And now we have the Capcom showcase, which was literally only half an hour long, maybe 35 minutes tops. They showed new DLC for Monster Hunter Rise called Sunbreak, or maybe it's like a standalone expansion, kind of like Monster Hunter World Iceborne. It's going to include a demo too, so I'll definitely check that out on my Switch Lite. Not a huge Monster Hunter fan, but you know, I got Rise recently, and you know, I'll try playing the Sunbreak demo, and yeah. They showed more Street Fighter 6 gameplay. They showed way too much. They spent way too much time talking about the Capcom Fighting Collection 1 and 2. These are games that are like 30 plus years old. These aren't new games. And like it took up like a big chunk of time, like 10 minutes. They gave us like a 10th anniversary thing on Dragon's Dogma. I'm a huge Dragon's Dogma fan, man. I hated it at first, but I played the Dark Arisen version, and it became like one of my all-time favorite action RPGs. They trolled us fans hard. They fucking trolled around with us. They gave us like Dragon's Dogma 2 vibes, but then it turned out that 10th anniversary thing was just like, we're gonna talk about the history of production on Dragon's Dogma and how it became a cult classic or whatever the fuck. Like, no, we don't want that. We want a Dragon's Dogma 2. You're gonna celebrate a 10th anniversary just talking about the game? Talk about a ruined moment. That was awful. They showed more. When I say more, I mean like a minute more of Resident Evil 4 remake gameplay. It was so disappointing. You know, you just saw Leon like walk around in the dark in the village, you know, in the forest, like, you know, aiming his gun, and like that's it. So I get the feeling that that game isn't really that much developed by right now. They got a release date, so I don't know. Hopefully, oh my god, if it turns out like 3 Remake again, where they cut out like fucking half the game, I'll be fucking pissed. Now, Resident Evil Village, on the other hand, they had a ton of shit, like so much stuff. They had there's a new DLC coming out starring Ethan's daughter, Rose. It's called Shadows of Rose. That's going to be really good, I think. They're introducing a new third-person mode, which is great for people who have always wanted to see Ethan's face. Even though we kind of already know his face, but to see it in actual gameplay, playing as him. Resident Evil Village in third person would be really interesting. I am curious to see how they would work the cutscenes. Would it just be just like in third person, talking to bad guys and shit? They need to make actual cutscenes, and that's going to take a lot of work. Otherwise, the whole first to third person transitioning for cutscenes, the first person cutscenes, is going to be fucking abysmal. It's going to be a train wreck. But I'm still very interested to see how well they do it. I don't mind Resident Evil in first person, but I do prefer it in over the shoulder third person. It's my favorite. They also got more mercenary stuff. And yeah, Resident Evil Village, man, they have a lot going. They have more going on for Village than they do going on for RE4 right now. It's funny, out of all that, they didn't show or announce one thing or mention one thing about Resident Evil Reverse. You guys remember Reverse, right? Pepperidge Farm remembers. And lastly, we have the Xbox Bethesda Extended, which was another waste of time. All they showed that interested me was Slime Rancher 2, only because I've played the first one and the second one's coming out on Game Pass on Xbox Series X. Won't be able to play it until I get one, but yeah, something that, something kind of fun and light. There was a Stalker 2 thing going on, but they let us know really well that the people who are working on Stalker 2, some of the people who have been working on it, actually have been enlisted in the war, the Russian-Ukraine war, and that's sad. That's really upsetting that, like, game developers are being deployed. Shit, man, that's... Damn, I feel for them. I really feel for them now, like, holy fuck. Wow. But yeah, Stalker 2, I have a feeling that now that they have, like, an experience of war, I feel like Stalker 2 may end up being a lot more authentic than most other kind of apocalyptic shooters. And I really look forward to Stalker 2. I never got to play the older ones, but I've always wanted to, so I'm a big fan of Metro, and I want to play Stalker 2 when it comes out. Even if it's not that great, I want to do it to support the people struggling in Ukraine too, game developers being deployed when they don't want to. They just want to finish their fucking game, man. But yeah, other than that, the Xbox Bethesda extended thing was a waste of my time. I was hoping to see more of Halo Infinite, like bringing back Forge and campaign co-op. Didn't see anything on that. Didn't see anything on Hellblade 2. And at the end of all this, still no God of War Ragnarok. It's a shame. Anyway, guys, I gotta wrap this up because my phone is running out of storage and I gotta transfer these videos out before my phone blows up. Yeah, I just want to give you my extended thoughts on that, the games I'm excited for. I just missed the old E3 format. I missed it already. And we had one last year and I missed it already. It's weird. There was not a single Nintendo press conference this month. So, we didn't get to see any new Zelda reveals or Mario or whatever. But we had all sorts of weird shit like Gorilla, Future Game, PC, Tribeca. Like, what? You know, what? So Nintendo doesn't get one? Like one of the biggest game companies in the world, but we get like these weird little showcases that ended up being very disappointed because they didn't really have a lot to offer. And most of it was just talking. Oh my God, talking, 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 and less gameplay. And if this keeps up, I'm not doing another one of these. All right, I'll just look up highlights next year instead. I miss the old format. We didn't even have like an Ubisoft or Square Enix. Where's my Ubisoft showcase for Splinter Cell Remake? Where's my Square Enix showcase for my Deus Ex? But most importantly, where's my Topware Interactive showcase for my Two Worlds 3?
The gamer gods.